Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, glad you could join me here today on our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show. We're always talking about how to improve body composition, burning body fat, maybe getting the leaner physique you may be looking for, but health is always the most paramount. So regardless of your body transformation goals, we're always trying to achieve an ideal body weight for us, for nobody else, to improve our overall health span as well as lifespan. Health span is how long we stay healthy over our life, and lifespan is how long we live. I'll probably be doing a whole show on that in the future, but today is a follow-up show from last Wednesday. If you didn't listen to last Wednesday's show, I would love for you to do so because it detailed a study of how 50% of the people in the study who had type 2 diabetes reversed their type 2 diabetes. Not only that, they maintained it after the study was over for at least 3 months and then even longer. And the crazy thing is that the diet was so wild that they followed that it's almost hard to believe that it worked. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what it was, but I would absolutely love you to go deeper on that, especially if you know anybody with type 2 diabetes. That was episode 2609, but honestly, just go head on over to this URL, stephencabral.com/2616. Easiest way to do it, because I'm going to link up everything right there today, including the science and then previous podcasts, etc. Okay, so here's the thing. There was a study that used something called Chinese medical nutrition therapy. I may refer to it during the show as CMNT. I'm going to explain exactly what it is right now. Just give you a quick recap, and then we're going to get into do I recommend it, or should we do something that could even work better? And I would love to hear your results, right? So here we go. Without giving you any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis, I have to give you that disclaimer. We'll get started with the show. So this was it. The diet, here's what the diet was composed of that they were given, and I'll tell you how they did it. So it was composed of enriched whole grains, and it was almost like a food bulbous. It contained some fruits and vegetables, a biscuit, some enriched rice, some solids beverages that were trying to really delineate what that was. And it was called fruit and vegetable gruel, mainly from whole grains and traditional Chinese medicine food plants. Now, without them detailing the whole study, which will come out eventually in the future, what it sounds like is a bit of a macrobiotic diet, not exact for everybody who follows macrobiotic, not exact. Certain fruits and veggies, rice, some whole grains. There was a meal replacement biscuit, and it was made into like a gruel. So basically they took the rice, they took the vegetables, they took some fruits, they kind of made it into this prepackaged meal. People were given this meal, and they could consume this, I believe, up to 4 times per day for a maximum amount of 917 calories per day per individual. I told you who the individuals basically consisted of last show. And the food that they were given was comprised of about 45% carbohydrate, 9% protein, and about 46% fat. All right? So that's basically was their macros. They didn't go into micros. And then they were also, in addition to that food, right, 917 calories a day, so hypocaloric. No matter who you are as an adult, 900 calories is very low. So that's typically hypocaloric for most individuals, and for individuals in this study, which were in the overweight category, not normal weight, not obese, they were at an overweight category, which is simply a BMI between 25 and 30. Okay, so in addition to the food, they were given, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different herbs to help balance their blood sugar and overall body constitution. If you have not studied traditional Chinese medicine before, it's difficult to explain in just 30 seconds, but they use properties of metal and wood, and they use properties of the elements. That's basically the best way to describe it. And they're also looking at the overall yin and yang of the body. That's the best Western-based way to describe it. So too much mucus, then we need to work on drying. Too dry, we need to work on then some wetness in the body. So and those are beautiful principles to follow. So that's what a lot of these herbs did. And I'm going to give you now more of the functional medicine way that we do this, but this worked. I mean, do I recommend this? No, and here's why. So 5 days, they followed this 917 calorie per day strict diet with these herbs. Then for 10 days, they could eat ad libitum. So they could eat however they wanted to. And then after 10 days was up, they went 5 days back on this diet. Then after those 5 days were done with the strict diet, they then moved on to 10 more days of eating however they wanted. So it was basically 2 cycles per month. And they did that for 3 months. So 6 5-day hypocaloric days with this particular type of food and these particular herbs, and then they would move to the ad libitum, eating whatever they wanted. So if we do the math, it's 5. So they did 6 cycles of 5. So they did 30 days out of the 90 days, right? 20 days per month. Is that correct? 20, 40, 60? Yes. 60 days off, and that would be 30 days on. That makes sense. That's 90, right? So that's what it looked like. And it just undulated, just went back and forth. 5 days on, 10 days off, 5 days on, 10 days off. Now, the thing is, out of the people that completed it, the amazing thing was only one person in the group that reversed their type 2 diabetes. So almost 50% of people reversed their type 2 diabetes that were in this particular study, in this group, versus only 2.8% of the control group. So it was 47+% reversed their type 2 diabetes, only 2%, 2.8% in the control group, if my mind's serving me today on this. So then only one person did not maintain that after actually it was another 3-month follow-up. So that's pretty remarkable. And so I'm not going to go against the study and say, well, did it work? Yeah, it worked. Is this going to be something that most people would be able to follow? Probably not. And so although I appreciate it, and it's going to move us forward into then the next study and the next study, and believe me, there's lots more studies, what I wanted to share with you here today, non-medical advice, is something that would be more realistic, easier to follow, and get you, I believe, because I've seen it in my own practice, even better results. Okay, so if you are unfamiliar with some of these things, I'm going to link up podcasts to go deeper on them, because I would be remiss if I were to say, I can explain this in 90 seconds as I go through each topic, right? It's really not serving anybody. So all the podcasts are always free, and I'm going to link them up for you. Okay, so all the links will be at stephencabral.com/2616. The first thing you want to do is open up your detox pathways and drainage pathways. And here's why. The reason why this is so important is that the people in this study are going to be losing a lot of weight. You will be losing a lot of weight, most likely 99 out of 100 times, if you have type 2 diabetes. That's most likely part of it, and that's okay. A lot of it's inflammation, a lot of it's water retention, that's okay. So the thing is, all of it's going to be processed through the liver and then the kidneys, right? So really important. So what we want to do is a functional medicine detox, 21 days. That's it. You just have to follow it. So you just follow the 21-day detox. That's it. If you've never heard about a detox, I'll link it up. I'll link up podcasts, free podcasts on it. You can choose any company you want. If you want to do the one that we do in our practice, it's at stephencabral.com/detox. Okay. So we've got that done. We've opened up now the pathways that are literally going to be taking. So if you're breaking down adipose tissue, fat cells are 300 times more toxic than the blood. That means when they get oxidized, they dump their toxins into the blood. That has to be cleaned up. It gets cleaned up by your liver. That's why you need to give your liver support, right? That's what the functional medicine detox is. Okay. After that, though, we're not going to go 10 days of eating whatever we want. No, we're going to do once a week of a flex meal, a cheat meal, whatever you want to call it. You get to have whatever you want. Friday night, Saturday night, you choose. And you get to have whatever you want at one meal. Not the whole day, but one meal. that can enable you to restore leptin levels, potentially thyroid levels, ghrelin levels, and so much more. And get that out of your system. All right? So once a week, whatever you want. Maybe twice a week, but they can't be on consecutive days, and that's it. But until you reach your goal, I just recommend once a week. Okay. The second one is this. We don't need to be hypocaloric at below 1,000 calories. Now, if we're looking to lose weight, we'll certainly reduce calories, but there are limits to that. A better way to be on a hypocaloric diet, which has been shown over and over, is not to do it every day, but to do a 5-2 diet. Okay, I've explained this before with my one-day reset diet. I'll link that up today, but I'll also link up the 5-2 diet, which I've talked about twice on the podcast. So I'll link those up too. A quick summary of the 5-2 diet is eating normally 5 days a week. 2 days, non-consecutive, like Monday and Thursday are great days to do it because then you might have a reward meal. Actually, I don't like saying reward meal because we never want to use food as a reward. So I'm actually glad that I said it because you never want to reward you eating well with then foods that are not healthy for you. It's a really terrible way to set up the psychology and terrible for children as well. Like, again, we're all guilty of it, but it's like, hey, if you finish your dinner, then you can have dessert. Well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to use dessert as a reward. And a lot of times as adults, that's what we want to comfort ourselves because it's what we were given as children. So flex meal from your typical eating, cheat meal, like however you want to call it, just you can eat the foods that you want to eat, comfort foods. You can have a comfort food meal. It's probably the best way of saying it, right? So that's that. So Monday and Thursday, though, so you're going to eat your typical healthy diet on Sunday, and you're going to eat it on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday and Saturday, right? And then one of those, of course, will be a flex meal. Now, what I want to share with you is this. On Mondays and Thursdays, though, it'll be a low-calorie day. It'll be somewhere between 500 and 800 calories. That's it. And you might say, well, that's even lower than the 900 calories. True, but only for 2 days, not for 5. And the way that you get around this is check out my one-day reset diet so that you're actually having liquid-based shakes if you want. Again, you don't have to. You could have some fruit. You could do whatever you feel is best for you. I'm just trying to tell you what works in our practice for stabilizing healthy levels of blood sugar, inflammation, detox pathways, etc. So you can actually have, 150 calories 3 times during the day. So even just say it's twice. So let's say, 2 shakes would be 110. So it's 220 calories. Let's say you do have a third as well, which is typically how we do it. That's 330 calories. And then you can still have another 300 to 400 calorie meal, for dinner. So you can absolutely make this happen. That's what most people do. So what does that look like? Okay. Well, if you just do 30 grams of a protein and you multiply by 4, you're at 120 calories. Let's say you do the same amount of carbs, that's 240, and then you can have 9 grams or a tablespoon of fat, and then you're at your 400. It's very easy really to be able to do that because you can have your vegetables, which are almost like net negative. You can have a couple cups of vegetables, protein, olive oil on top, sea salt, easy to do. I'll oftentimes have a nice piece of wild salmon. I'll have asparagus. I might have a side salad with chopped carrots on it, olive oil on it, and that's it. That's a great way to do it. So that's easy. That could be your 2 down days, your 5-2. It's basically up and down days. All right. So that's an easy way to do it. If you didn't want to do it twice a week, you just do it once a week. That's it. You just do once a week. And it can just be the one-day reset if that's how you choose to do it. So this ultimately is the best way of being able to balance the body to a healthy level. Because first, you open up the detox and drainage-based pathways with a functional medicine detox. Next, you're going to actually restore hormone levels, leptin, ghrelin, thyroid, by having a cheat meal, flex meal. And even if you didn't want to eat unhealthy food, totally fine. You can just eat more carbohydrates. Okay. So Saturdays, your flex meal, just eat a lot of carbs if you want. Literally, you can that's what you want to do. Reset it. And I don't mean a ton. It doesn't have to be a ton of carbs. Just double, triple the amount that you typically have. Oh, the body's I'm not starving here. Great. I get a little bit more food. Fantastic. Then it can go back to losing weight, rebalancing the body. Now, the other amazing thing about this is that if you're not 10 days of eating whatever you want, and you're actually only doing a flex meal once a week, twice at the very, very most on non-consecutive days, the body actually rebounds faster. So when it rebounds faster, it brings blood sugar back to a healthy fasting level faster. And that means that your insulin levels are not having to spike all day long for those 10 days when you be eating whatever you want. So without a doubt, I greatly simplified it here today. You can absolutely get a personalized plan if you'd like. The lab that looks at all of your hormones, including your hemoglobin A1C and insulin, is called the Stress, Mood, and Metabolism Test. You can find that at StephenCabral.com/labs. And the detox, you can find at StephenCabral.com/detox. All the free podcasts, literally the 1-day reset diets, you can create your own, the 5-2 diet, so much more. I will link up today at StephenCabral.com/2616. But I'll tell you this, I love research like this. Would I ever put someone on a plan like this, the one that previous, meaning like the 917 calories a day and basically the vegetable gruel? No, I wouldn't, because I know that the likelihood, and I know that these people maintained their diabetes remission 3 months plus, which is fantastic, but are they really, do they learn anything? And the thing is, I don't know that they did, because they were eating basically ready to consume like prep meals. So they never had to do it. They were given the microwavable meals or whatever they were. And it doesn't sound like it was the healthiest thing in the world. It sounds like a lot of processed food, but it was hypocaloric, and they were using intermittent fasting for 12 hours plus a day. I still recommend that for most people as well, 12 up to 16 hours per day for many people. Started earlier in the night, that's always better. And that's what I would do. So I would take the main premise and I would make it better. And the truth is that there are better plans than this. I mean, it's not just me. There are many practitioners in the world helping people to balance and rebalance their bodies. And so I would give the plan that I just recommended to you an honest try. And I think you're going to see great results. If you want it more personalized, you want to get a coach, then you can find that just by going to that labs that I spoke about at StephenCabral.com/labs. So hopefully this was helpful. I'll link up the studies and clinical trials as well. And again, if this was helpful, do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to StephenCabral.com/rain barrel.